On April 24, 2018, the person referred to as the Golden State Killer, East Area Rapist, Original Night Stalker, was captured. During a more than 10-year crime rampage in California between the mid-1970s and the mid-1980s, it is alleged that Joseph DeAngelo Jr. broke into 120 homes, assaulted sexually over 40 victims, and killed 12 people. He, fortunately, left a lot of DNAs behind, which ultimately resulted in his arrest. Welcome to the Bleeding Truth YouTube channel. To know about some of the scary crime facts, click the subscribe button, and make sure to hit the bell icon if you don't want to miss out on our new videos. Number 1. East Area Rapist. He was a serial rapist known as the East Area Rapist before he became a killer known as the Golden State Killer or the Original Night Stalker. The murderer began by raping unmarried women. He would wake them up in the middle of the night, usually at 3 or 4 in the morning, and blindfold them right away. For his own protection, he always wore a ski mask. He would tie up his victims, who reported the rape itself to be quick, and humiliate them inside their homes. The East Area Rapist would frequently threaten to kill his victims. He would take breaks from assaulting them to break into their homes or to stand silently over them after the physical violence, leaving the victims to wonder if he was still there. As his victims would be frozen in fear and unable to move to check on him to see if he had left or not, this silent waiting game would actually help him to escape. When the victims felt secure enough to get up and find a phone to call the police, they sometimes had to wait hours. Number 2. Visalia Ransacker. He was referred to as the Visalia Ransacker before becoming a rapist. Even though many detectives have wondered about this connection in the past, it appears to have been established after DeAngelo's arrest. Records indicate that throughout the time Ransacker was active, he was employed as a police officer in the region. He was a voyeur, a prowler, and a creep who would observe and record information on his victims. He anticipated when each member of the family would be at home as well as when the house would be completely empty. He stole strange objects like jewelry, cuff links, blue chip stamp books, and once, 17 rolls of pennies. Number 3. Weeks of planning. Long before breaking into homes to rape and kill people, the Golden State Killer would stake out the area. When he finally went inside, he was familiar with the house's complete design. He was aware of the number of residents living there. He was aware of their schedules. Even their names came to him. He would sometimes enter the residents' days or even hours before an attack to customize it to his preferences. This would need small actions like turning off a porch light and unlocking windows, as well as additional planning like emptying guns, cutting phone lines, and setting up the patio for an easier escape. In preparation for the attack, he would also hide shoelaces and other items that could be used as ligatures inside the home. Number 4. Need to be in control. The Golden State Killer, East Area Rapist, has a strong desire for power and dominance. He would show this by progressing from raping wives when their husbands were at home and killing married couples. Instead of doing it himself, he would insist that the wife tie up the husband. He would also use his victims' food from their refrigerators and steal worthless objects from them to further his power, but his creepiest habit was of keeping their phone numbers. Many years after the attacks, he was known to phone the victims and insult them. Number 5. Endless patience. The killer's skill set was disturbing, and he demonstrated commitment to his task by spending hours standing and observing his victims. He would stay outside houses for so long, for hours and hours. The majority of crime scenes had tennis shoe prints and DNA evidence. He developed an approach that usually began with him flashing his victims with a torch beam to wake them up. Nearly all of his victims would recount the same script he appeared to be using: "Don't move or I'll slit your throat." Even after the initial attack was over, the East Area Rapist would stand silently in the room. Investigators claimed that even if victims believed they heard him go, they would not instantly get up to notify the police because of this effective threat tactic. Number 6. Crawling on roofs. Police frequently discovered cash, jewelry, and other stolen goods on the rooftops of houses in the targeted neighborhoods. They initially believed he was throwing the things onto the rooftops, but they soon realized that he was actually crawling all over the roofs and the small objects were simply falling out of his pockets. He frequently left these things outside or even in the houses of his victims. Number 7. Dog friend and foe. Barking dogs failed to discourage the Golden State Killer. He wouldn't think twice about hurting an animal. To avoid being caught one night, the Golden State Killer cut a 54-kilogram German Shepherd's belly. In 1979, the alleged murderer was also caught taking a hammer and a can of dog repellent. He was working as an Auburn police officer at the time. Number 8. Freaky phone calls. The Golden State Killer used the phone to tease his victims. Numerous rape victims claimed to have received odd calls and hang-ups before being attacked. They didn't give it much thought before the break-in and attack. Even the serial rapist would phone his victims and frighten them decades after the attacks. For example, one rape victim recalled receiving a call from someone who simply called, "Remember when we played?" She claimed that she recognized him right away as the man who attacked her more than 30 years before and was known as the East Area Rapist. That brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for being to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell us what you think about this video below in the comment section.